You cannot stop the Forsaken. He will consume this world.
What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite. For an interesting video to wrap up this week of content, we're going to be talking about the repercussions of modern Toten, teasers for future content, and some other zombies related news. Definitely stay tuned. But before we jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, because about 60% of you that watch my videos aren't subscribed. So make sure you guys are getting notifications every time I update you on Black Ops Cold War. It has been an absolute blast playing through DLC 3 over the last couple of days. Let me know how you're liking the map down below in the comments. But in my opinion, if modern Toten came out before Outbreak did, and hypothetically speaking, let's say the game launched with Maschine and Firebase, then modern Toten dropped in February, then I think releasing Outbreak at the end of February or early March would have been okay, and the wait from then until July I think would have been a little bit easier for the zombies community. I also think the transparency about what DLC 2 is within this game was also a bit confusing for the community, right? At first, Outbreak wasn't DLC 2, but after both main quests released, they changed the terminology of Outbreak to the new version of DLC 2 for this game, just to get us into a bit of an understanding that there will be 4 major DLC launches in this game, so there should be one more major release to go, presumably a round-based map that is rumored to drop at some point in September, according to some other insiders out there. Now, the main quest of modern Toten was beautiful, both from a storyline and gameplay standpoint. We're going to talk quite a bit about the map here in this video tonight, but don't consider this video a review of the map or anything boring like that. I also posted a couple of guides on my channel. You're either first or you're not if you want to get your video out there on YouTube. It's very competitive whenever a new Zombies DLC drops because of how thirsty a lot of the community is for new content and to post tutorials. So I post content wherever I see fit when it comes to a Zombies map, of course. But first and definitely foremost when it comes to modern Toten, no, there isn't a section from either Kino, Toten, or Verruckt, as previously rumored by other people out there. So I know before the game even released, there were rumors from somebody who apparently played the game early that there were going to be sections of Kino and Verruckt in this Berlin Zombies experience, and that person also said the map would drop in Season 4. And that was correct, or a part of it that was, but maybe the info about Kino and Verruckt is just outdated by now. Maybe there were plans at one point to have sections of those maps in this experience. It would have worked out perfectly, of course, since Kino's actually down the street from where we're playing at in modern Toten, so it would have been perfect if we saw that. And honestly, the missed opportunity with this map, just in my opinion, is with the Disco Bunny Easter egg. It's a great quest, it's a cool area to go to, very exclusive, and opens up the map a little bit more, even though you can only go there through the side Easter egg. But if they would have made that Easter egg room the Kino spawn room, or somewhere in Kino, that would have been the best way to bring the map back without having people say, oh, it's just a Kino Toten remake, right? This map isn't original. You know, the map is definitely original, despite taking assets from the campaign, as Zombies always does, but I think having the Kino spawn room or something from that map in a side Easter egg would have been perfect. And Verruckt, it's like, whatever, right? We played Verruckt so many times now. We got the remasters in, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 3, even in Blackout, so seeing Kino maybe one more time through a side Easter egg would have been acceptable in my opinion, but for now I think it's fine. People would have complained anyway, since people out there who do believe Maschine is a Nocturne Toten remake, and sure, it does have Nocturne Toten in it, but plays nothing like that map. It's almost like saying Trans is a Nocturne Toten remake, when it really isn't. So I think it's better that they stuck with a completely original layout for modern Toten. Let me know how you feel about that down below in the comments. We also have a fair amount of side Easter eggs in this DLC 3, which I'm a huge fan of, right? Lots of different quests, from a free Aether tool, which brings us a bit of a throwback to the buried sharpshooter step. We also have, 3 different upgrades for the Klaus robots, free wonder weapon. There isn't a free perk Easter egg as of yet, but I know big content creators out there already posted quote-unquote all side Easter eggs in modern Toten, which probably means they got somebody out there to data mine whether or not any side Easter eggs are left, which is why they were like, alright, let's just put out the video then, since there's no side Easter eggs left apparently over on modern Toten. So as of right now though, great content, and we have the zipline system, which to me is fantastic, very fluent for the map flow. And if anything, if a Dire-Res remake ever does happen, either in this game or a future one, ziplines are the best solution from going from one building to another, instead of building trample steams or instead of having a grapple hook system. I think that would have been the solution they went with in a Dire-Res remake if it would have ended up releasing over in Black Ops 4. Now, the map definitely has the right amount of content, content, at least for my preference. I like the Maschine more than Firebase, not even because of the side Easter eggs on that map, but just because of the fact that the Maschine is just a very simple and solid launch map to kind of get us started with this new storyline. Firebase was fine. I think it had a fairly solid main quest, but it felt a bit hollow at times. Not exactly the Vietnam jungle-like map I was hoping we would see in Firebase, but still nonetheless a fun experience overall. But Modern Toten is easily the best round-based zombies map in Black Ops Cold War, and in my hot take, one of the best round-based maps since at least Blood of the Dead. Yes, I love that map, don't at me. And now when it comes to the director, we had a pretty big reveal for the director at the very ending of the Modern Toten Easter egg. So we don't get to look at his face at all, and people out there that play with models in Cold War Zombies also pointed out that his head in the files is a placeholder mannequin head. So we have no idea who the director is, but what I will say is that the storyline in this map through intel, ciphers, and even dialogue during the main quest gives us a pretty big hint that the director is in fact Eddie, and Klaus, the robot that plays a very large role on this map, does seem to have Eddie's personality within him, or somehow an Eddie AI that I guess knows Eddie's memories or just speaks like him. We're still figuring out how Klaus works and whatnot, and whether or not he'll return in a future map, but he does have similar jokes to Richtofen as well, right? We got a couple of jokes which I will put down below in the description that I definitely think resemble how Richtofen used to joke around in previous Black Ops iterations. I almost got a bit of a hint of Nolan North from Klaus's voice. It probably wasn't him voice acting, but almost like they wanted to impersonate Nolan North a little bit through these funny voice lines. So we'll of course see who voices Eddie in probably the next DLC or something, but I wouldn't be shocked, right? They have Julie Nathanson still voicing Samantha. Maybe bringing back just Nolan North for the sake of Eddie would be great for the zombies community, right? It's not going to be the same incarnation of Richtofen that we knew and loved from previous Black Ops games, but it is still Eddie, who has gone through a very different journey from what Richtofen went through in World at War to Black Ops 4, but you'll still maybe hear a hint of Richtofen in his voice, a bit of similar personality traits. We'll talk more about Richtofen and this new version of Eddie in a separate story video that I'll be posting very soon as we digest more of the intel and understand what's going on in the story a lot more over the next few days. I saw some theories out there stating that the director is actually Hudson, which I found pretty hilarious because apparently Hudson invented wearing t-shirts and ties. And I'm not sure where that came from, but it reminds me clearly of the pre-Black Ops 3 Zombies teasers, where it showed a zombie wearing a suit and tie that people out there thought was Hudson, and that was a bit more of a plausible theory, whereas this one I'm like, wait a second, why would they conceal the director's identity for so long just for it to be something lackluster like Hudson, who was already in the Black Ops Cold War campaign going off on other missions, right? That just wouldn't make much sense. But just like with Hudson, I would say that apparently Kino Toten invented chandeliers. People out there saw a teaser for Golova and Outbreak a few months back and thought it was a Kino remake. I mean, Ted apparently invented robots. Since Klaus got revealed in the teaser trailer for this map, people were like, oh, Ted's coming back. And I'm like, what? Where did this come from? But again, the community is funny sometimes. Overall though, Klaus is the, I would say, superior version of Civil Protector, where you can actually control his movements and where he goes. Fantastic system. If I had to guess though, if we got a Transit remake in Black Ops 4, the Ted model from Blackouts probably would have been used in the form of Civil Protector over in that remake. That's just my theory right now. We could still see that in the future, but as of right now, Klaus has been a great addition to Modern Toten. Now on top of that as well, we went over the fact that Sam might end up dying in a future Zombies DLC based on her interview that she did with Treyarch a couple of weeks ago, where she was pretty emotional during the interview, Julie Nathanson that is, and it almost seemed like she had filmed her last lines for Samantha in Black Ops Cold War. She didn't die in Modern Toten. We got a glimpse of her using her powers finally in the ending cutscene, but if I had to guess, I think Eddie might end up becoming the main protagonist at the end of this game's life cycle, setting up the next game, whereas Sam might end up sacrificing herself, or as the director pointed out in the computer here, she has to be dealt with because of the power that she has. So I'm very curious what that entails. Will she go missing for a game or two? Will she sacrifice herself, or will she just be written off for a little bit while Eddie takes the front and center for, let's say, COD 2023? Lots of possibilities with this, but I'm sure DLC 4 will end up wrapping a lot of this up like a goddamn bow tie. Now, at the very end of the main quest of Modern Toten, Klaus enters the Dark Aether through this Ant-Man looking quantum tunnel, and as he enters through, with a nuke of course, he does say, oh shit. So that almost implies that he saw something he might have recognized, or just something that's mind-blowing enough to where it sets up a big reveal in the next DLC. And this is again all going along with the fact that the director's personality, or an AI based on the director, is within Klaus, so he may have the director's memories and may understand everything the director does. So I'm curious what it is that he saw, but leads to the next point, right? What is DLC 4? For the first time, I would say, in a while, we don't know where we're going in the next map. I mean, looking at Black Ops 4, Black Ops 3, We had a pretty good idea as to where we were going next. Black Ops 3 definitely. Black Ops 4 maybe not so much. It came out of left field a little bit. We don't know very much. There isn't really any intel that has been found thus far that suggests what location we're going to be at. I'm still going to predict that it's going to be inside the Dark Aether. Most people out there predict that as well. So a Revelations type experience where everything's kind of broken and corrupted, very dark. Getting that full Dark Aether filter over the entire map throughout all your gameplay could be a lot of fun. And all we know of about DLC 4, according to other rumors from many months back, is that the map is codenamed Giant. Does that stand for a potential Duris remake? Is that standing for a giant boss that we're going to face in the map? Who knows what that can entail? Who knows if that's outdated information by now? So that's probably going to drop at some point in Season 6 Reloaded if the September rumor does line up very well. But the best question I've seen being asked around the community is, if it took so long for Mater Toten to release, 160 days since Firebase, then how could they pull off another round-based map from now until, end of September? Will they have enough time to pull off a map as good as Mater Toten? And I want to go out on a limb and say that, alright, they took a bit of a break with round-based after Firebase to work on Outbreak, of course, while also putting as much time as possible into Mater Toten. But Mater Toten has probably been finished for a little while to where they got a very solid head start on DLC 4. I'm hoping DLC 4 isn't a lackluster round-based map where it's a bit hollow or doesn't have much Easter eggs tied to it. I'm hoping for the best here, but I have full confidence that they are still on schedule since, like I said before, there was a rumor from pre-release that this Berlin map would drop in Season 4, so clearly they are still on schedule. And as I talked about yesterday in a previous video, the map Echelon for multiplayer has been rumored since before Season 2 even came out. There's gameplay of that map, and major gaming news outlets out there already posted the gameplay. I think it was all the way back in February or March, and the map is just about to release in Season 5. So Treyarch has been on what seems like the correct schedule that they intended to be on ever since pre-release. So that's good to hear about right now. I also want to talk about Monty and the Shadowman. I've been seeing a lot of videos posted lately about whether or not the Accursed one is both of them fused together. So the strong theory still stands. They were fused together at the end of the Tattered Toten Easter egg. I won't go into a big recap on how that worked and whatnot, but that was all sent to the Dark Aether regardless. So when they mentioned the Accursed one in the Maschine over in Graffiti, we all just assumed that they were talking about the Accursed one, the same Accursed one that existed in the beginning of the original Aether storyline before the Accursed one split into two, which was Monty and the Shadowman. So that was a good guess, but now in Mater Toten, they've essentially renamed the Accursed one to the Forsaken, according to Corrupted Valentina. That's what she refers to him as. And then they continuously repeat that throughout some of the intel, radios, and ciphers that the Forsaken is the big bad. He was one of the Elder Gods that was fighting for power inside the Dark Aether, who is now taking control, and we're probably going to see his appearance in the next round-based map. But they didn't refer to him at all in Mater Toten as the Accursed one, so was that a last-minute change by Craig Houston so that we don't confuse this Forsaken boss with whatever the Accursed one was in the last Aether storyline? Could it have been just a bit of a nod to the Accursed one from the old Aether story when they called him that in the Maschine, but now they're like, wait a second, let's not get any expectations set out there for a return for Monty and the Shadowman, let's change the name of that character. Could that have happened? Absolutely. And again, I have a separate story video coming out very soon where we're going to recap everything that has happened story-wise in DLC 3. Just not ready to make that video right now, but looking at that change, people might end up being disappointed with this Forsaken reveal. Hopefully nobody is, but it almost gets me feeling like Craig wants to move away as far as possible from anything tied to the old Aether storyline. That sounds silly because this is of course a Dark Aether spinoff, but looking at how he worded the return of fan favorite characters like Samantha and then Eddie, he wants to make it clear this is a new story going in a new direction. It just so happens to, you know, bring a couple of loose ends from the old Aether storyline and expand on that a little bit here in this story. Sam, of course, has a much different arc going, and it seems Eddie will as well. And that's why he explained vividly that we're not going to see the return of Richtofen at all in this game, but Eddie will be a little bit different. Now, it's also implied that a lot of the Elder Gods that were in the Dark Aether fighting for power were maybe bits and pieces of what was left of Monty and the Shadowman, but aren't necessarily both of them put together. And that's the thing, when things are thrown into the Dark Aether, they don't necessarily stay in the same form when they're in there for hundreds or thousands of years. They morph, they mutate, turn into different things, combine with others, and then re-emerge looking different. So I think that's going to be the way they sort of retcon this Accursed one and make it seem like it's not Monty and the Shadowman, but instead just, you know, a bunch of Elder Gods that are in there, and then one of them just happened to rise to the top and gain power. That's kind of what I'm thinking right now in terms of that, but that of course could change in the next round-based map. We could all be shocked by a potential return of the Shadowman. But to clear up some other confusion that I also saw, as Eric also pointed out on Twitter, Gorev is not related to Nikolai Belinsky, right? Nikolai did not fight or exist in Stalingrad within this universe, so it's actually impossible, right? The references in some of the audio that Gorev is related to somebody who fought in Stalingrad, of course, we could all think Nikolai at first because he played a big role in Stalingrad back in the old Aether storyline, but again, it seems like he's more related to a World at War character like Reznov, Petrenko, maybe somebody else. I also want to bring up the fact that Outbreak may end up getting a main quest 3 in Season 5, right? This begs the question, right? What are we going to see in Season 5 if the next round-based map isn't dropping until Season 6 Reloaded, right? What happens next? Are there more Ural Mountains locations to bring to Outbreak, right? Weather Station, which contains a Summit remake, mines, battery, chemical labs. What happens next with Outbreak? They're definitely not done updating it, so could another main quest be added? Absolutely. We didn't get to see much of Ravenov in Modern Toten. We didn't hear much of him at all, actually. I think minus one piece of intel, so maybe they'll focus more on him in a potential main quest 3. They also haven't added the CRBRS wonder weapons to Outbreak at this moment in time, so I'm assuming similar to the Die wonder weapons, they'll end up adding in maybe a short side quest or just a simple way to find them over in Outbreak with the beginning of Season 5. And then maybe Season 5 Reloaded could bring us a short main quest similar to Operation Excision, which sets up or acts as a bit of a prologue to the finale of Black Ops Cold War, which is going to be DLC 4. If that's the case, I'm totally happy with that because, like I said in other videos, right, they could have just released a traditional DLC 2 back in, what, March or April, and that could have replaced the main quest we got for Outbreak, right? Operation Inversia and Operation Excision. But think about it, right? We got a DLC 2, which is Outbreak, that was expanded for months on end with new regions, 2 full main quests, and at this point in time, we have the Maschine, Firebase, 2 Outbreak quests, and now Modern Toten. So we have 5 main quests in Cold War Zombies despite only having 3 round-based maps. I'm happy with that, and we still have more quests probably to come in Outbreak, and of course with the finale in DLC 4. There's also of course 2 perks left to release unless something gets scrapped, right? Double Tap and PhD as rumored for many months now, so what does that mean, right? There should be at least 2 type of Zombies experiences left, at least. One more round-based map, which could probably bring us PhD in September, but what happens before that, right? Presumably this new Outbreak experience could end up providing us with a new perk machine. Maybe Double Tap releases in some type of new Outbreak experience or Outbreak region that for some reason acts different from the others, because right now in Outbreak there are no perk machines anywhere in any of the regions. There's just the Wonderfist machine. But also don't forget about the recent rumors and some spicy material that was posted on Twitter confirming that combined arms maps will be added to Outbreak at some point in the future. So if there are no more Ural Mountains locations left to release for Outbreak, then are they going to turn to combined arms maps such as what? Crossroads, maybe Armada, some other maps out there? Is that what we'll see in Season 5 to kind of wrap up all the Outbreak updates and add the final regions to that mode? I mean, definitely worth thinking about. Let me know how you feel about that down below in the comments, but more maps definitely on the way for Outbreak without a doubt. You know, in a perfect world, we can get a green run type Outbreak experience that sits in its own playlist as a bit of an Outbreak LTM, but hopefully stays permanent, where you use the bus to travel from region to region, or, you know, bus depot to diner to farm. That would be an amazing experience that kind of emphasizes what Transit was supposed to be to begin with back during Black Ops 2. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave all your thoughts down below in the comments section. What are your thoughts on the repercussions and gameplay experiences for Modern Toten? Was it a worthwhile DLC 3, right? Waiting 5+ months for it? How do you feel about teasers for future content? What do you think is going to happen in Season 5? And also, how do you feel about COD Mobile Zombies returning very soon? Really hope you enjoyed, and peace out, everyone.